Hello, everyone. Welcome to Taste Different Gaming Reviews. And what are we reviewing tonight? Rise of the Ronin. Rise of the Ronin is an action role playing game developed by Team Ninja and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Came out on the 22nd of March of 2024 for PlayStation 5. So it's an exclusive. This is basically a game set in the Edo period, mid 19th century. Game lets you create custom avatars. When you first come into the game, you create yourself plus your twin blade, and you get to pick which one you want to play. So it's a wide variety of weapons and styles of combat. Interesting game. We'll let the team kind of weigh in on what their thoughts were of this game. Shane, what did you think of Rise of Ronin?
I think it's a game. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. It is a fence game for me. I can go play it and be happy. I can not play it and not worry. Which, and I don't like saying that because, and I think part of that problem is the fact that Ghost of Tsushima was such a stellar game for this type of game, and you kind of want the same thing for Rise of Ronin. Granted, they're really two different games. They both have open world atmospheres, but that's pretty much where their similarities draw the line, especially considering the eras, like Pat said. So here, you get a lot of colonialization from Britain and all that stuff you see throughout the game, which you never got in Tsushima. So it makes the world different, which I like. I do like that it is not the same in many ways, but the storyline for this game is fine. It's nothing fancy. It's a little confusing at first, I thought, with the whole twin blade system thing. It was just weird, but I didn't let that throw me off. I ended up enjoying the game, but it's not a game that I feel that I have to play. That I have to get to that next checkpoint. I have to find that next object, or check out the next bad guy or anything like that. It's just a good game, not a bad game. Just a good game. The world is pretty. It is not Tsushima pretty, but it's still a pretty world. But I think it's bigger than Tsushima. I'm not sure, but the way the world is drawn and set up, I think it feels bigger because you have like a city you can actually go through. Granted, it's really small city, but you didn't really have that. So I don't know. I'm trying not to do too many comparisons because I really wanted to be more like this in a lot of ways, but yeah, it is what it is. The biggest disappointment, though, is the co-op feature. It's stupid. It is just a nonsensical turd. You can play portions of the game cooperatively. You have to unlock missions, essentially, that allow you to bring in two or three? I believe it's just two other Ronin in with you, and it just seems like a real waste. We played a mission together, and I really enjoyed it because I started off with stealth, and then I screwed it up, which screwed everything up for you guys. And I like that. I like the cooperative portion of it. I felt bad that I screwed it up, but screw you guys, I don't care. No, but I liked the online co-op. It played perfectly fine. The problem is that's it. You only have that little portion, and then you play more the single player to unlock a next mission type and mission area, and so on and so forth. And I don't like that. To me, it's just a waste. It's just a serious waste. Now, I can kind of understand it with the reason, with the story that they developed for the single player, why they didn't really have a set co-op. But a lot of games, they have a single player where co-op doesn't really benefit single player stories, but who gives a crap? It's about the fun of it. And they deprived me and you guys of some fun with the limitations of co-op. We've played a few others that have done this, and I don't like it. I don't want this trend to continue where you can only play little bits here and little bits there of cooperative things. I really think that's just a misstep in the complete wrong direction. So that's my biggest gripe. My favorite thing, Noah, is the controls. I was very concerned about the controls at the beginning because I don't do a whole lot of commands very well. I have a focused set of skills, A, B, and maybe I can hold L1 and B, or circle or whatever. That's me. I don't do a whole lot, but it works really well because there's a lot of different types of controls you end up using to set up your projectiles or your switching stances and things like that. I thought I would have a hard time with that. I did a lot better than I expected, so that's a bonus. I was worried about it, but if I can do it, pretty much anybody can because I'm special. So, but other than that, it's a good game. It's just not a great game. It's just not a bad game. It's just a game. So some people may be a little more in love with it than me. Some people may hate it. I don't know. But to me, it's right there, and it's that yellow stripe on the middle of the road. That's where it's at, and I'm okay with that. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I enjoy this game. I agree with you, Shane, with it not being a bad game and not being a great game, right? I think it's a good game and I enjoy it and I'm having fun playing it. I don't think it's a great game. I think if you want to play a game that's like Rise of Ronin, Ghost of Tsushima, if you haven't played that one, play that over this, right? Even though, I mean, if you want something in that era, right, with like samurai combat, there are better options out there. But if you already played those games and you're looking for another one that's kind of in that same vein ish, Rise of the Ronin is a good game as far as that goes. And I'm having a good time playing it. Right. I'm having a lot of fun playing through there. I enjoy the combat. I think the combat's a lot of fun. Deflecting strikes or dodging or, using the different weapons and stuff like that. The thing about it kind of reminds me of the combat kind of reminds me of Nio, which is also what they've done in the past. It's not as good as Nio either. So I would say, again, if you want to play something by Team Ninja that they've done really well, then go play Nio or Nio 2 because those are really good games. but they're difficult though, way more difficult than this game. But I do like the whole it's kind of like taking everything they've done with those particular games and kind of combining it all into this one Rise of the Ronin game. They have all the different weapons and all the different armor pieces and stuff like that. And the thing I like about it too is the customization with that. You can put those together however you want, depending on what skills that you want to increase, what stats you would like to increase, as well as you have set pieces too. But then you can do a bond transfer where you can take, if you have an open slot in a piece, you can take a piece off of another piece and put it over into a piece that you really like, or you can upgrade the piece that you really like by spending resources and silver to upgrade that to a higher tier. So you can keep using that weapon by increasing its stats, right? And making it more powerful so you don't have to swap it out for something new. I mean, of course you can, but if you really like the weapon you're using, you're like, I don't really want to trade this out, then just go upgrade it and, maybe do some bond transfers to maybe find some better skills to apply to it and stuff like that, as well as your secondary weapon. Because you have two weapons, you have two weapon sets that you can have on you, and there's all sorts of different weapons from katanas to sabers to, adachi, which is the big katanas, to dual blades and all that stuff. And then you have your sub weapons, which, you can have Americanized, because like Shane was saying, this is where in America's kind of coming in to set up trade between them and Japan. And so now you can also use American weapons such as, you know, muskets and revolvers and you know, sabers and stuff like that. And you can also dress in American attire if you want to go that route, right? Depending on how you want to go. So that's a cool idea. It's really neat to see the kind of like America first coming to Japan type of thing going on in this, which is normally not what these games do as far as story wise. They usually don't introduce America into, you know, Japan. It's usually Japan more historical, like before any of that ever happened type of thing, right? But ultimately, I mean, I like all that customization options in there. And as you progress in the game, more and more of that stuff opens up. There's a lot of systems in this game, a lot. Like you have this whole cat system and the dog system, and you got gliders and ropes and shoot, I'm trying to think of what else. Pictures, camera taking, you know, taking photos, and like there's like it almost seems like Team Ninja may have done like they had all these ideas and they decided we're just going to cram them all into this game instead of being like, maybe we have too many ideas. It almost feels like that. It's not, I haven't gotten to the point where it feels incredibly overwhelming, but it feels like, man, they were just trying to do like, you know, they had a bucket list of what they wanted. And they just said, you know what, we're going to mark everything off. You know, that's what it feels like. Cause there is so many things to do on the map. It's like, it's crazy. But I mean, you get the nice thing about the game too is, you know, there's fast travel points, which are scattered all over the place. You get a horse pretty much almost instantly. Like when you first start the game, it gives you a mount like right then and there. It's like, here's a horse for you, go. And you're like, okay, cool. And you can use a whistle to call the horse in whenever you want to. You get a glider pretty quickly in. You get the rope with the harpoon rope thing pretty quickly to climb up where those areas are and stuff like that. So you get all the traversal items, I'm pretty much trying to say, pretty much at the start of the game. They unlock pretty quickly. You don't have to wait like, you know, several missions in before you get a glider or a horse or something like that. So you're not stuck to being on foot for very long before you get all that stuff. So that makes getting around a lot easier. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, there's a ton in this game. I do agree with Shane that the co-op, you know, it is what it is, but it is sucky because you have to basically, I mean, the best way to, I think about it is play through the single player, beat the game, so you unlock all the missions, and then go do the missions together with your friends. That's essentially the best way to do it, because otherwise you don't know when they're the Ronin missions is what I call them. You don't know when these missions are going to come up. They do indicate them. They have certain icons and stuff like that, but you don't know when this is going to start because there might be a beginning to this mission before it gets to that point. And then when it gets to that point, you don't want to be like, hey guys, I'm at this point in the mission, you know, because you don't know what your friends are doing at that time to be able to bring them in as allies. So you're normally just doing it with NPC allies or by yourself if you want to do it that way. And so it's like, and then you unlock it where you can do it again with your friends or whatever. So that's basically the best choice, is just to wait till you've unlocked them all and then go through them all with your friends, which again sucks. You know, I wish there would have thought of something different for the co-op, either just straight co-op from the beginning or a set of like cooperative missions that are outside the single player that you can go and do with your friends or something like that. You can like import your character and do these like cooperative missions that were outside of the single player game. Something like that would have been cool. But having you to do that first, like once you beat the single player game, you know, how many people are going to go back and then play through those missions again co-op? You may play through a few, but you may not play through them all, or you may not play through any of them with your buddies by that point, right? And so that kind of sucks. But you can also do matchmaking if you want just random people in there instead of the AI or the NPCs. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, overall, I do enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not, you know, I'm with Shane in the regards where I'm not like, you know, not necessarily jonesing to play it or anything like that, but I am having a good time playing it. So when I am on there, I do play it for quite a few hours and put a lot of time into it and go around and level up my character and unlock my skill points and my stats and, you know, find stuff around the map and unlock things and take pictures and do all that crap that we do, in the game. So, and kill other ninjas and Ronins and whatever else is in there. So, ultimately I'm having a good time. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good game. It's not a great game. It's not a horrible game either. But I think it's a pretty good game. So Pat, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, there is a lot, right? In the initial part of this game, I was honestly not feeling it. I Early on, they actually throw in like a level 6 camp. I didn't realize that it was level 6 and you're like level 2 or 3. And I banged my head on that thing on clearing that area. I don't know, until I was so pissed off. And then I was chatting with Nick and he's like, "Oh, you got to look out for the stances." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about stances?" I hadn't even been introduced to stances yet. And I was like, "What are you talking about stances?" And you unlock them around level 6, which is around the level that camp was at through a story quest. And I'm like, "Oh, I beat my head on that damn mission for a long time." And then when I got the stances, I could swap stances. And I'm like, "Oh, so now he's like blue. My arrows are up and blue, which means I can do greater damage against him, or better play style against him." Every weapon has a play style and they have stances. Certain stances are strong against others or weak or neutral, and so you have to kind of do stances in this game or else you're going to get wrecked. Um, but yeah, there is things within things, right? Nick was talking about there's a whole collecting cats. Well, there's also a cat that likes to run away from you in the cats. When most of them are docile, but that's calico. You got to sneak up on them to grab them, and there's a whole friend system in the game with the NPCs that you have to create bonds with, and and there's just so much in the game, and there's gambling in the game. You go out there, play some dice, evens and odds, and all kinds of stuff like that, and tracking down criminals, and going through and getting and creating inventions from the inventor. And there is so much to do that you'll be kept busy for a while. But it does feel at some point like I'm not bored with it and I'm enjoying it, but it does feel a lot of times like they took too many cues from Ubisoft, because every time I'm like, you raise your bond with an area, you're like, cool, and then there's like 3 more things popped up that you missed, so you didn't run across with accidental exploration. And then you're like, oh, bond level or level 3, I've reached level 3 with this area, and I'm like, even more crap popped up, and there's like a cat way out there, and there's a chest way over there, and there's a fugitive out there, and there's a temple over there, and a shrine over here, and I'm like, at some point though, it does start to weigh a little bit, because you're like, just let me get through the whole area in one fell swoop. I don't need to keep coming back because I leveled up the area and now I could see more in the map, you know. But overall, I am finding it fun. I am annoyed with the co-op like these guys are, because I really wish I could just play the game co-op with friends and not have to wait for the Ronin missions and go hang out in the longhouse while you load up that. But you could send, talking about things to do within things, you can send your cats on missions. You got a little dog that you can send on missions. You can interact with other people's dogs and get a piece of the silver, which is more currency, because there's like 2 currency. There's like the main currency, and then there's like this super special currency, that's spent on everything else when you unlock factions, or you unlock someone like the cat lady. She has a whole line of stuff you can buy with that special currency. The guy that you take pictures with has a whole line of stuff you can buy with the currency. It's just like stuff within stuff within stuff within stuff. Now, luckily, they didn't puke on the map as hard as Ubisoft did, but man, they've got a way more functions within the game than Ubisoft did. Like I said, it's insane and hard to keep track of. Not to mention, you got skill points, and you have generic skill points, and you have stat-based skill points like dexterity, strength, intelligence, and charisma. You're just like, and every skill tree has a mix and mash. You're like, okay, cool, I want that. Oh crap, I don't have enough regular skill points, or I don't have enough intellect skill points. And it's insane. And like Nick was saying, move stats from one piece of armor to the other if it has slots. Because early on, I found a set of armor that I liked, but it didn't have the stats that I liked. But, it also wasn't the legendary orange set, FOMO right there. I'm like, but I really liked the set and I wanted to keep it. But at the same point, I was missing out on a couple of set bonuses, because the orange ones are like, has set names on them, and you get so many of them. They basically like a set piece in any RPG, where you're just like, 4 or 5 of these gives you all these bonuses. So you want to collect all the set pieces, and But it's fun. You know, you have 2 primary weapons that you can swap out between, and 2 secondary, which is your ranged, weapons. And you can use like guns and shuriken and bows in the secondary. And in the primary, you got katanas, you got great swords, you got pole arms, you got freaking sabers, you just got everything into the sun you can think of. So a lot to keep you busy. But at the same time, sometimes it's just overwhelming. You're like, there's just way too much. And not to mention, you can even go in unarmed if you want. And then you can go in unarmed and you can fight. There's missions where it gives you to go in and not kill people. And how you do it, you either equip wooden weapons or you go in with your fisticuffs, beat the crap out of them. So overall, there's a lot to do. And I'm the same way these guys are. I wanted to push the story mission just so we can unlock more co-op missions to play together. But I can kind of take it or leave it, right? Once this review's over, it'll stay installed for a while, but I'm probably going to go back and try to finish up, Dragon's Dogma 2. And once I finish that, then maybe I'll come back to this one. Or, we got Helldivers. We've been playing a lot of that. So, so this game is okay. It's not game of the year worthy, but it's an interesting game. And I never really played Nioh. So, I don't know what that's, what that's like. So to me, this game is, at first I thought it was going to be a lot more Souls-like, because I was like, oh, you rest at the banner and it resets all the enemies, and it's not that bad. It's not, I've yet to see enemies reset when you rest at the banner, because you wrest control of the enemies from the towns from the enemies, and then the people move back in, and those, when you rest the banner, the bandits don't come back in and take over, at least not yet anyway. Maybe further on in the game they might, but they don't now. From my understanding, there's not a new game plus, so it's pretty much just push through to the end and do all the extra things on the map. There's tons of side quests. There's also faction division. When you get, I don't want to give away too much, but once you reach a certain point in the game, your story will branch depending on which choices you make, and you can kind of waffle, go back and forth between choices, but ultimately you will branch your story with your choices that you make. So there is a quest line choice to make. So overall, good game, just not an amazing game or an awesome game. So probably I'm a little bit more further on the fence of playing it than probably Shane is. He's on the fence. I'm on the side of I want to play, but that's all in. I want to unlock all these Ronin missions so we can run them together. It's 3-man Ronin.
Yeah, me and Pat are probably on the same side of that yellow line.
Yeah, that's the only reason I want to go back and play, is to play the cooperative, because I really enjoyed the co-op. When Ghost of Tsushima
we only
came
got to do
with,
like one, right?
Yeah, when Ghost of Tsushima came out with their co-op, oh my god, we had
theirs
so
was
much
freaking insanely hard. But it was insanely hard.
Yeah, those were shave your legs with a spoon difficult. But I loved running as samurais with you guys and just decimating landscapes. And they just made a really bad choice with the way they set it up. Granted, it's an artistic thing. They had the reasoning, fully understand. But come on, that's not what people want when we hear co-op. It is definitely not what Nick. I would love a good co-op game where we basically play the game first and then we can go back and play with each other. Not in that way.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like running around as a Ronin chopping heads off of enemies and stuff, dismembering? Because you dismember more often than not in this game. At least I feel like I do. It's like a head's always coming off. So,
well, they needed it.
Yeah, well, they're bad guys, So,
and being able to do that with your friends would make it just even more fun.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate, the co-op is unfortunate that it's only tied to the Ronin missions. Because I've even done some missions that are not Ronin missions where I'm like, this wouldn't be a bad co-op mission, like if they set it up that way.
Well, so the majority of the combat in the game is in those missions or in the clearing out the bandit threats, or I can't remember what they call them, but there's little red dots, and they're areas that are normally inhabited by civilians, but they've been taken over by bandits or bad guys. 90% of those missions you can go they have a captured Ronin and you could free him and he'll fight with you. And I'm like, so why can't my friends just fight in open world with us and we just go around wrecking stuff, right? Playing
I
the
love
game
the
together. But that's
ideal
not
of-
what they wanted.
I love the ideal of Nick being tied up to a post, and we gotta release him just so he can play with us. I mean, that's freaking hilarious. He loads in. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump in. Oh shit, I'm the hostage. Damn it! I love the ideal of that.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I like it. I'm having fun with it, but it's not like a primary play once this review's over. So I made it as far as I need to for the review. Feel like I got a really good understanding of what's in the game, and and I'll probably still put in some time, but that's just unlock the story missions and stuff. But I think it won't be a priority game now that the review's over. But what do you guys think? You guys got anything else you want to chat about before we put this Ronin to bed?
Nope.
I'm probably gonna just jump back in when you guys want to play, and that's pretty much it. I want to go back into a few other games that we've been playing. Dragon's Dogma 2. I want to tidy up certain things there. So, but it's not a bad game. It's just not. It's just not a game that you chomp at the bit to go play. So take that for what's
So, yeah.
It's not game of the year, but if you play through everything else and you have nothing to play, this is a good time waster, and you'll have a good time probably playing.
We'll be level 100, and Shane will be like level 10 in the Ronin missions.
Maybe 13.
Hey, all right. Well, let us know what you think. If you picked up Rise of the Ronin, are you enjoying it? Do you think we're wrong? To each their own in games, right? But let us know what you think about Rise of the Ronin if you have picked it up. If not, if it's your type, if you like a good RPG, especially set in like the Edo era of Japan, with the American, the French, and the British all working up trade deals and trying to weasel their way in with the shogunate, might be just for you. If not, it might be a wait game. So you can wait till it goes on sale, or you wait till you have room in your ever-growing library of games that you need to get to, your back catalog. So let us know what you think down in the comments. And as always, we hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.